I don't want to be the one to say it, guys, because I was really looking forward to this event, but I was really disappointed with what we got shown. There are a few things that I think went wrong during the presentation, but let's break all of that down and how not all hope is actually lost, and there are still a lot of things to look forward to. Okay, so the first thing we have to go over is the teaser trailer that they released, if we can even call it that, and how it really didn't show us much. On the Netflix Avatar Twitter, they put out the first look at the show, and all it showed was the official logo for the series, which was pretty cool, I will say, as well as the logos for the 4 nations. They certainly did look cool, but by the way that they were hyping this event up, almost everyone was expecting to see some actual footage. But the reason for that disappointment actually leads us onto the second thing that went wrong during this presentation. The show itself has now officially been delayed till 2024. Another very sad piece of news from the event, as the initial date was supposed to be later this year in 2023. But with that said, let's move on to the elephant in the room, the costumes of the characters. Starting off with Aang, I have to say Gordon looks great in the role and I think he's going to play Aang very well. But sadly, the costume just looks cheap. It doesn't look lived in or well worn like it's actually been in use. Remember, these robes are supposed to be over 100 years old. And this was a lesson that George Lucas taught us with Star Wars: A New Hope back in 1997. The world needs to look lived in and worn to be believable. As for the arrow, I think it's just a little bit too much. I do like the little bit of detail that you can see when you zoom in on the arrow, but the blue blob itself doesn't look great from a distance. I'm going to say something possibly controversial here, but I honestly think the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar arrow looked much better than what we've seen here. And the costumes even looked better too. But hey, comment down below if you disagree with that, because I know a lot of you will. Moving on to Sokka, I have to say this is probably the best looking outfit of all of the characters, maybe second to Zuko, but overall I think this photo just looks better in totality. It definitely blends in well and it looks more imposing, definitely matching the feel of what Sokka should be and what his character represents. Again though, I will say that it does look too clean, the outfit, and it definitely doesn't look worn. After that we have Katara, who definitely looks the part, however the costume is still way too clean as with all of the other ones, and it looks factory made. It needs to look much more handcrafted, as of course all of the Southern Water Tribe outfits would be. Also, in this shot we can see our first ever look at the bending VFX for the show. We can't tell much about them yet, but it at least looks slightly more realistic than the M. Night Shyamalan water, so we'll see about that. And for the budget we have on this show, I think the VFX is going to be much better. At least, I hope. Finally, we have Zuko. The actor definitely again looks great in the role, as they all do, but the costume does not look on point. I will say the torso armor looks fine and even actually has a bit of wear on it and a bit of scuffing, unlike the other pieces from the other characters, but the helmet does look a bit oversized, but again, that really doesn't matter. Let's just hope the character looks good in action. Regardless of all that though, all of those problems, the costumes and the design are only a small part of the formula that will go into making the show a success. The real key is the story. If the story is incredible and captivating, none of these other things will matter as much, and I'll still be on board with the show all the way to the end, no matter what happens, unless we get a complete flop like M. Night Shyamalan's, but let's just pray that doesn't happen. So that's why I'm still extremely hopeful for the show, and I still think the show will be great, but this first look event just didn't cut it for me, and I hope we get more into the future. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Subscribe if you want more Avatar lore, and I'll see you in the next videos.